What's up, guys? I don't think I've done a video from my kitchen in a long time. This is for you. You know who you are. R.I.P. bro. I just want to kind of have an open discussion here. Leave your opinions in the comments. Any personal biases you have toward me, good or bad, which will be mostly good because it's my audience. Leave those aside. Again, open conversation. I kind of want to know. I've been watching some more fitness videos lately, and I hate myself for doing that because YouTube fitness, wow. I try to limit myself on that, and I haven't watched a lot of it in a long time. Been some recent rumblings and stuff going on. I'm not going to go too in-depth into that. I'm going to keep this very generic, if you will. Just casual observations. It seems that we're trending towards performance-based merit not being of as much significance as it once was within the community, and it seems more geared toward now educated opinion being what the majority seems to be supporting. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but I kind of wanted to discuss a little bit of the back and forth of that, I guess, if you will. I'm shooting this all off the top of my head, so excuse me if I get a little fucking bumfuzzled. I don't know. I can't think of a better word right now. Seems like back in, I don't know, when did I even start watching YouTube fitness? 2012 maybe, 2013, late 2011, 2012. I don't know, like the people who were getting popular at the time, either, were lean, jacked, or strong. I try to think, Scooby, kind of the godfather of it. He was a lean dude. He had some great ideas and stuff too. Very, very bro science. Wasn't much in the way of like formal education there. Best I can recall, it's been a long time. Go ahead and trash me in the comments for not being well researched. But it was very bro science. A lot of it was just based on his personal experience, and there was a lot of great tidbits there. I still to this day, slicing bananas, putting them in a freezer bag, putting them in the freezer. It's one of the greatest things ever. And I learned that from Scooby way back when. But, him and then, Elliot Hulse, who was a pretty high-level strongman back in the day. Physiques of Greatness, which, Chris Jones obviously carried that channel. And Vince kind of rode his coattails. Not kind of, he did ride his coattails. But Chris had a very good natural physique. Was always on point with his diets, cutting, and even his was very much bro science. But it was kind of just his personal experience and giving advice based off that. And again, good tidbits to be had there. Brandon Campbell, kind of one of the OGs here too. His performance wasn't astronomical per se. The standards were different back then though. And he was, doing powerlifting, competing in powerlifting. He has a decently fit body, physique. Johnny Candido, of course. Anyway, it was very much performance-based merit back then. Your merit was based on your performance. Not to say that the sharing of the bad part of the bro science, because there's that too. Misconceptions happen. Just because something works for you doesn't mean it is. It might have worked in spite of it, not because of it. But there's a lot of that being spread, and but there was still a lot of great stuff being spread too. Just it wasn't coming from a scientific background for the most part. As it gets into now, it seems like everything is hyper scientific. If you say the least little thing that isn't supported by a study or something like that, it's is automatically, you know, pushed to the back burner. It has no value anymore because there's not a PubMed article on it, or somebody didn't study in kinesiology class, etc. Things like that. And it's good. You know, we need to have science. We need to have checks and balances. And we need to weed out what is, you know, not good information, not good advice, things that don't have any merit. About to run out of memory. I'll stop right in the middle of the good thought process and delete 218 videos. Anyway, what was I even saying? God damn it, that sucks. But it's good to have checks and balances. I'm glad we have science and literature, and that there are some more educated types. There's more education out there. Even some, like, you know, I mentioned OGs earlier. Omar Isuf probably definitely counts as an OG, and, you know, he's kind of transitioned from, you know, back to, you know, from being the bro science guy to being very informative, while also having performance to back it up. Not like super out of this world stellar performance, but he's, you know, great all around. Good natural physique, good natural lifts. So yeah, he kind of meshes everything together. So props there, not that he needs my props. Anyway, though, the community as it sits, it just seems like now, and this is like briefly me watching a week of kind of current things, is, you know, has it been influenced that heavily by somebody who I won't mention? You know, I remember him getting shit for doing those kinds of videos, but it seems like now that's what is all over YouTube fitness, and that's the majority of videos, is calling out other people, defending other people. Seems like, you know, you've got a group of channels here who will defend each other. These channels will defend each other. Everybody calls out Tyrone the fitness addict. I've watched a couple of his videos. I think the kid means well, but yikes. But yeah, it just seems like now that's the majority of content now. And granted, I understand as a power lifter how boring lifts are. Even, you know, you see somebody bench 500 pounds, in person you're going to stop and look. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you're at a gym and somebody puts 5 plates on the bench, the gym's going to stop and look. On the internet, you know, it gets regularized. I don't know how many reps I've done at this point, 5 plates or more. I can't count anymore. It's a normal lift for me, so it's not, you know, I think my first 5 plate bench press video way back in the day, it's probably around like 10,000 views now. None of them since then, I don't think, have approached that. And there wasn't as many of them back then either. There was less people doing YouTube. The standards weren't what they are now, etc. So, you know, that's changed. But anyway, and, you know, it's what's the flavor of the month type thing too. For instance, I've joked about this on my channel. If anybody new sees this, you know, I have video labeled 225 OHP. I did it for 14 reps, but I just labeled it 225 OHP. I have other videos labeled like 315 OHP, 325 OHP, and the 225 OHP has, you know, more views than the others. You know, that's the... I think people can relate to 225 OHP more because it is a lower number. It's something that's attainable for a lot of people, where 315 OHP, especially like as strict as I do them, is not realistic for some people. And that's not a bash on some people. It's just a lot of people aren't willing to put in the amount of work I have over time, and or sacrifice to their aesthetic physiques that I have. Not that my physique was ever aesthetic, but anyway, get into rambling on here. So here's the thing. Like I said, I'm not against the educational, sciencey stuff. And I'm not against, per se, the attacking of other channels based on their content. Personal attacks, while they can be funny, and I guess, you know, the roast culture of the internet these days, it's kind of below the belt, in my opinion. But wait a minute, what about you and Alex? I'd have to go back and review videos. Best I can remember, there were probably some personal attacks. Who am I kidding? It was based on, you know, replies to comments from him in channel content. But yeah, I'm being a hypocrite right now. I'll say it. Which, hey, if this gets to him, I don't know how deep we are into this video now. Props on the, you know, 405 bench press. I saw it on Instagram. Obviously, it's not a competition lift, but good job, dude. That was a good lift. That's one thing. Probably going off on another tangent here. This is going to be a lot of ramblings. I'll give Alex credit for is, you know, he puts himself out there. He said some dumb shit. I've told him he said some dumb shit. He puts himself out there to be criticized, though. And I've not seen him really be hypercritical of too many other channels. But if somebody like him was, he's earned it just due to all the shit he's put out of himself to be criticized. And that's kind of something I want to get to, too. Seems like there's a lot of critical channels out there that don't have any substance of their own open for criticism. Like, that's all they do is criticize others. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some informative stuff they put out too, but there's no lifts of their own to be criticized. There's no lifts of their clients to be criticized. Their physique isn't shown to be criticized, but they criticize all of these things of other people. That's, you know, cowardly in a sense. I think cowardly fits. If you're gonna, you know, just be critical all the time, but not leave yourself open for criticism. And I know some of you are probably gonna say, well, just having a channel and putting content out is being open for criticism, and I agree to a degree. However, within this community, the fitness community that I am a part of for being a power lifter, you know, the general umbrella, you know, kind of dictates that lifts and physiques and combinations of the lot. Most all of my compound lifts are quote unquote impressive. My physique, however, is not. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. But yeah, there's, you know, a lot of maybe unfair criticism if you're not putting your own stuff out there to be criticized. So, okay, so all ranting and ramblings out there. What I really wanted to get to probably 10 minutes ago is that the performance-based merit and, you know, educational merit are not mutually exclusive, okay? They can cohabitate. You know, I just ordered $150 worth of books from some of the money I get coaching others. So, you know, I'm always wanting to increase my knowledge too. It's not a bad thing. But let's put them in their own little bubbles for a second. So, you know, the educational-based stuff is going to be based on, you know, going to school, you know, for kinesiology or something like that. I think they have other sports-related coaching classes now too, but biology, things involving the human body, how it moves, things of that sort, is always going to have merit. You know, education through self-education, reading books, reading studies, etc., always going to have merit. The thing is with some of these studies is they're going to contradict each other. Like, what is, you know, true today? We did a study, blah, blah, blah. there might have been some minor details missing. There might have been a variable missing from said study. 5 years later, there's going to be another study that says, hey, that study was wrong. And then, you're going to have to do another study. And so it's constantly changing. So you just can't read off studies and say, oh, well, this study says X, so you saying Y is wrong. Especially, if the person doing Y is doing it with success and it's, they've helped others do it to success. The studies you got to really read closely, and I have a bad habit sometimes of skimming through them or even letting my smarter friends explain them to me. But there'll be a study about bench pressing, and it'll say, we took 20 highly trained advanced lifters and, put them through. 10 of them did X with Y as a variable, and 10 of them did X with Z as a variable, and blah, blah, blah. But you get down to the bottom of these, advanced lifters that were highly experienced, their average bench press is like 175 pounds. So, you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt, too. Meanwhile, the people who have done it and, they're experienced, I'll use myself as an example. I bench 5 plates. I've benched 550 pounds. It is kind of funny sometimes when I see like dudes who don't have a bench press posted, who don't have any muscle mass, muscle definition, small guys talking about you should do this and this and this to get a big bench press, and whether it's true or not, like the person giving that advice, it has little to no impact, because it's like, do you have a fucking big bench press? Or no, you don't. So, who are you to say how to get it? Now, granted, there are very basic guidelines, general guidelines that pretty much anybody can tell you how to get a big bench press without having gotten one. But that dude telling you how to get a big bench press, he can't tell you what it feels like. He's never experienced holding 500 pounds over his face, lowering it to his chest, and then pressing it back up. So while he can give you the generic stuff, like the mental aspect, he can't quantify because he's never been there. He's never experienced it. It's not. He doesn't have that experience, that first-hand knowledge to pass along. Now, he may be able to give you a better program than I can give you. I probably doubt it, but and that's not a knock on anybody. I am both, well-versed educationally and experienced in the bench press. That's the one thing I got going for me, goddammit. But that aside, he can't tell you how it feels. He can't tell you, the moments leading up to it, what to expect to deal with, mentally, what kind of jitters you're going to have, how to shut them out, how to just visualize the lift itself and focus on it, how to dominate the weight, how to make the weight yours, etc., etc., because he's never been there. So, and that's where the performance-based merit comes in, because even if, and there are some dumbasses who have no clue how to program, how to train, who get very, very strong based on a combination of genetics, drugs, and hard, consistent work. And that hard, consistent work is going to be, the lowest common denominator for anybody who gets absurdly strong. But they can still relate one-on-one to somebody wanting to get there, what it feels like, and what they did to get there. Whether what they did to get there was efficient or not, whether they got there in spite of what they did or because of what they did, they'll always be able to have that experience to pass along to somebody that the, well-educated person who's read every single study, every meta-analysis, has a doctorate, etc., etc., can formulate the best game plan, best programming, best diet, nutrition, recovery protocols known to man. He'll still never be able to tell his, you know, client, friend, buddy, whoever, what it feels like, and pass along that knowledge. And that knowledge still, while it's not the shit we read books and learn about, it's important. It still matters. And there's still, again, a lot of merit to that physical performance itself and passing that down. So I think I rambled about a bunch of shit in this video. I don't know how many people are going to make it this far or did make it this far. This kind of turned into, really, those last 5 minutes or so is what I really wanted to talk about. And I just got sidetracked, like I'm doing now. I hope some of you did stay and listen to all of this. You know, I had a lot to get off my chest. I'm not really sat down and spoken to the YouTubes in a while. There's been a lot going on lately on YouTube. So yeah, there's some of Freaky D's opinions on things and stuff with a little bit of a actual message thrown in there. So peace.